So this is my Monstera Deliciosa. It's only about 6 months old. I got it in a 3-inch pot, or 4-inch pot, and as you can see, the leaves are already beginning to split, and it's grown quite significantly. It's about 2 feet tall currently, and you can see the new leaves will emerge from the stems, will poke out of them like this, and then slowly get taller and unroll. And this plant will get quite big and send out more aerial roots. Right now the stems aren't very tall, so all of the aerial roots are still able to reach the soil. But as the plant grows, you can see this one. This one is much older, much larger, and the nodes coming out of the stem are all along, and some I've trained into the soil, whereas others will just stay in the air as the plant grows. And these leaves are much larger. This plant is technically a vine, and in nature it would grow up trees to reach the sunlight. So as it gets taller, it may need some support. Currently this one can still stand on its own. It's leaning against the wall right now, but if I pull it away from the wall, it's still totally okay. It's just grown in that direction. And it currently has another leaf. You can see this sort of shape here on the stem. It's not emerging yet, but this will do what the smaller plant is doing, where you'll start to see a leaf poke out through the end here, and that'll be the new stem, the newest leaf. This leaf is currently the newest and has the most fenestrations out of all of them. It's also significantly larger than the others, and I think in part that's to do with this grow light that I leave on for probably like 4 hours on days that it's cloudy. I don't use it a lot, but as winter progresses, it'll probably be used more. So I've got the grow light on now, and it just stands over there. It's not too much of a concern how close it is to the leaves. It's gonna get enough light either way, and it's not gonna burn them. I just thought I'd talk about watering now. So this plant is pretty tolerant. It likes water, but it also can handle the soil drying out quite a bit. Because this one's in such a large pot, I only water it probably every couple weeks, week and a half, and I don't water it that much water because I find that it takes a while to dry out. But with this smaller one, I water it a lot more frequently, probably every week, a little bit more in the summer when it was drying out quickly. But it does do well in bright light. This one is probably 4 meters away from a window, and so it doesn't get direct light, which is partly why the grow light is here. It'll get about 40 minutes of direct sun in the morning when the sun's first rising, and so that's not very bright, and that's not quite enough for it. But the other one, the little one, is in the window, and it gets direct light for a couple hours, and otherwise just bright indirect light, and they're fine with that. And just to give you an idea of how fast these plants grow, I've had this one for just over a year, about 13 months now, and it was given to me as a cutting, actually, not a baby plant, and it was a cutting with these 3 leaves, these bottom 3. So the 4 or 5 actually, got 2, 4, 5 leaves after have grown in the year since. It did nothing for probably the first 6 months I had it, and I think it was just establishing a root system at that point because it was a cutting. But since, it's just grown really rapidly. It's a pretty healthy plant. With some of them, you will see, let's take a look at this stem. You get a little bit of, well, this one was scraped by me, that was my bad, but a little bit of this, or these lines, and that's just natural, sort of almost like scar tissue on a plant. You can see this leaf has it as well, and this just happens on older leaves. As they get bent and bashed a little bit, they take a bit of wear and tear. As you can see, this leaf, which is one of the first ones this plant has some dry edges. It's not a big deal, but the plant as a whole is healthy. It's just some of the old leaves struggle a bit sometimes. Yeah, so it's a pretty easy plant to care for. It grows really fast, and you have to be prepared for it to get quite large. They don't stop growing. This one may need support at some point, but for now it's doing okay. yeah, they're pretty easy. They just take up a lot of space.